We can start, Professor G.
Okay,
So, Jai Jindra, everyone. Today, we have Dr. Shyamlal Godawat, and he is a very well-known professor in the field of the genetic science as well. He is a former dean of Rajasthan Agriculture University, and we are really means we can say we are lucky to hear in-depth knowledge from him regarding karma and how it is related with the genetic science as well. So let's welcome to Professor Shyamlal Godawat, and this floor I'm hand over this floor to him. Professor Ji, you are now in charge.
okay. Thank you. नमः श्रीवर्धमानाय निर्धुतकलिलात्मने चालोकानां त्रिलोकानां यद्विद्यादर्पणाय ते वर्तमान शासन नायक महावीर स्वामी की जय द्वादशांग जनवाणी माता की जय Well, under the heading of karma and the science, I would like to tell you something about the relationship of soul and karmas with body. The audio and video recording I have already submitted long back, and I hope you must have listened my this audio and video recording. If you have any questions regarding this, you are most welcome. In very brief, because we have already given you the audio and video recording, so I will not go in details just now because I have to cover the two lectures here within the limit time. So hurriedly I will explain in a very small capacity the relationship of the soul and the karmas with body. You know that from the Jain philosophy point of view, the soul and karmas and body, all the three things are well discussed in all our Jain scriptures. But from the scientific point of view or from the biological point of view, if we see there is no any explanation about the soul and the karmas. We have a plenty of explanation about the body. Body means the different kinds of the sarir we have. This explanation is there in the science. But there is no any explanation about the soul and karmas. But in this lecture, I would like to explain you that in what way the Jain philosophy is suffice the views of science and in what way it differs from the science. Well, friends, you are well aware that according to the Jain philosophy, the existence of living organisms. Here we are concerned in living organisms means the all worldly soul or the sansari ji, what we call, or the mundana soul. The all sansari ji or the worldly soul is a combination of soul and the physical matter. That it is a combination of Jeev and the Pudgal, or in other words, we can say it is a combination of living and non-living substances and their interaction with each other. So Jeev being non-physical, and connection between the Jeev and the material body is not direct, but it is made through the karma's body. So in Jain systems, there is a one body also there which is known as the karma body. Science do not tell anything about the karma bodies, and the other four bodies are also there, for which I am just coming. The science is very silent about that, but the Jain philosophy fully tells about these different kinds of the sarir or different kinds of the body. So with this assumption, with this view, an attempt I have made to understand the combination and Pudgal in scientific way as well as from the Jain philosophy point of view. In this subject of research, but some speculation we can make based on the different kinds of the birth, regulatory mechanism of the DNA, biophotons, and the concept are discussed here for understanding the relationship between the soul and the body and the contraction and expansion property of the soul and their interaction with each other. Here, very interesting thing is that the soul has the property of the contraction and expansion, and science do not tell anything about the soul. So this thing I would like to explain with illustration and with very interesting examples, that the how the contraction and expansion we can observe in our daily life. So the combination of the soul and Pudgal, we can have the speculation by uh, discussing the different kinds of the birth, by the regulatory mechanism of the DNA, and by the study of the biophotons. So through these mechanisms, we would like to explain this system. As I just told you, that there are five kinds of the Sarir, five kinds of the body, which has been described in the Uma Swami in Tattva Sutra. These five kinds of the bodies are there. I'm not going in details about all these things. Odarik Sarir, Vyakriyak Sarir, Aharak Sarir, Tejas Sarir, and Karma Sarir. Science do not tell anything about these last four, that is second, third, fourth, and five. These science do not tell anything about these four kinds of the sarir. Only science tell about the odaric sarir, that is the physical body, which is made by the cell or which is made by the tissue system, etc. So these sarir, odaric sarir, according to the Jain system, it is available or it is found in the human beings and subhuman beings. That is, in the human beings, Manushya Pariyay or Tiryanch Parayay subhuman beings. So this Odaric Sarir is there only in these human beings and the subhuman beings. For this and rest all Sarirs, we are not going to discuss here, because at present we will discuss only this Odaric Sarir. And science is also explaining well about this Odaric Sarir. The Odaric body is consisted of the cells, and their numbers vary from single cell to the billions of the cell. So this Sarir, Odaric Sarir, which is made may be of single cell, or it may be composed by the billions of cells. Say, for example, in our human body, we have the billions of cells, and the well-developed systems are there. Respiratory system, digestive system, excretory system, reproductive system, so and nervous system, blood regulatory system. So all different systems are well developed systems are there. But we have the organisms which is composed by a single cell only, that this single cell organism is also performing all these systems, all these activities are also going on in single cell system. So here you see that the life in the body so long as in the soul is associated with it. So when we talk about the life, means as far as the soul is there, we call it a life is there. If there is no soul, if soul is departed, we call it as a dead body, or we call it as a death. So this is the main important thing in the soul. That is the soul is giving the chetana, and the chetana means all the functioning of the body is governed by the soul. That is the soul is the driver which control all the activities here. So according to the Nemichan Siddhant Chakravarti, Acharya Nemichan Siddhant Chakravarti in the Drav Sangraha, the nine characteristics of the soul has been mentioned. I am not going in detail about the nine characteristics, because as per my topic is concerned, here I will tell you about the Sadeha Parinamo. This point I would like to explain. Sadeha Parinamo. So the Sadeha Parinamo means the soul is adjusted according to the shape, size of the body. If the shape is increases, size is increases, length is increases, the so the soul or the Atma Pradesh, what we call it is Atma Pradesh, that will also expand or contract according to the size of the body. So here I tell you that a single amoeba, a single cell organism is here. This is the animal, and this is the chlamydomonas, and this is the plant. A single cell is there, and which perform all the activities. Likewise, the bacteria and the viruses also a single cell, and they are performing all these activities. Now, to explain this thing in a nice way, there are three kinds of the birth, as I explained, as I told you earlier, that this system relationship we can understand by the birth, how the birth is taking place, how the reproduction is taking place, how the multiplication is taking place. So this all the body and the soul relationship and the karma relationship we can understand by the different kinds of the birth which has been mentioned in the our Jain scriptures. So these three kinds of the birth, that is the spontaneous generation, first time. Second one is the uterine birth, and third is the instantaneous rise. That is the Samuchan Janm, Garbhajan or Upajan. These three kinds of the birth are described in our Jain scriptures. So in Tatvar Sutta it has been mentioned, and in other scriptures also it has been mentioned. So in the spontaneous generation, it is taking place from one sensed organism to the four sensed organism. And in the higher organism, that is in the five sensed organism, the uterine birth is going on. I am not going in detailism, I am just saving the time, because already audio video recording I have submitted. In the instantaneous rise, that is the Upajanma, it is taking place in the celestials and hellish. That is in the seven, that is the celestials with the Dev or Nark, hellish Jeev. In both these two kinds of the organisms, both these two kinds of the jivas, the instantaneous rise, that Upajanma is taking place, in which there is direct young ones is coming out on the Upad Saya, and this, so in all kinds of the celestials and hellish, this kind of birth is taking place. So the first two kinds of the birth, that is the spontaneous and uterine birth, these are also well explained in the science or in the biology. But biology is very silent about the instantaneous rise or instantaneous birth, and that is in the celestial and the hellish which is taking place, because science do not tell anything about the heaven, or the science do not tell anything about the nark hellish hells. So this kind of the birth is not explaining in the science, but in our Jain scriptures, this kind of birth is mentioned here. So this is the difference. But here the similarities is there very well explained, spontaneous. That is in the science, in the biology, it has, in botany or in the zoology or in the animal science, it has been well explained, the spontaneous generation and uterine birth. In the uterine birth, there is the fusion of the male and female gamete. That is there is the fusion of the Raj or Vir, or in other words, we can say that there is the fusion of sperm and ovum. So by the fusion of the sperm and ovum, a zygote is formed, and zygote is further multiplied and multiplied. A new embryo is developed, and embryo is ultimately converted into the young ones. So this kind of the birth is known as the uterine birth in higher organisms, in five-sized organisms, especially in the reptiles, mammals, and all these things, organisms, this uterine birth is taking place. And this spontaneous generation, it is taking place from one side, एक इंद्रिय जीव से चार इंद्रिय जीव में इस प्रकार का birth बताया गया है, and this is exactly in accordance with the science. So predominantly three kinds of the reproduction, or the we can say the birth or the multiplication, is explained in the biological sciences, which is known as the vegetative reproduction and asexual reproduction. So the vegetative reproduction and asexual reproduction is exactly in accordance with the Jain scriptures, that is the spontaneous rise, is both are covered in these two types of the reproduction, in which vegetative reproduction and asexual reproduction, there is no fusion of male and female. Raj or Vir, there is no fusion of Raj and Vir. So the first two types which has been described in the biology are comes under the category of spontaneous birth, and the sexual reproduction is comes under the category of uterine birth, which has been explained in the Jain scriptures. So this is the similarity and difference in the biology and our Jain scriptures. Now, with the few illustration examples, I would like to tell you that hurriedly I will explain. That is, the spontaneous birth is well visualized and illustrated in agricultural sciences, popularly in multiplication of the horticultural crops and in the flowering plant. Here in this case, these are the different ways of multiplication of horticultural crops and in the flowering and fruiting plants, in which, say, for example, grafting, and you see that all the grafting, and this is the budding, gutti, all these things are, I'm not going in details about it. If you have question any, then I will explain you later on. So this layering, budding, all these things are there, in which the spontaneous kind of the birth is taking place, and the multiplication is going on in this way. Just you see that, say for example, here I will explain you that, say from a one rose plant, you have cut the 10 twigs, and you cut the 10 twigs and put under the solution here. You see that from these 10 twigs, if we put in a agar-agar solution or in some nutrient, you see that all the twigs will start growing, the root will come out and it will multiply like this. So from one plant, just cutting it and you put it under the soil or in the, some solution, nutrient solution, a new plant will come up from this. So here there is no fusion of any male or female, nothing. Just this is kind of vegetative reproduction. Any part, a healthy part of the plant will regenerate and produce a new individuals in this case. So these are the various examples are there. I'm not going, just to save the time, I'm not going in details about all these things here. So similarly, you can see here that the germination, when we grow the seed also, the same mechanism is here. When we put the seed under the favorable condition, optimum moisture, oxygen, and optimum heat, you see that a migratory soul will come and took place here on the embryo, and the new young will come up. So these are here, there is also no fusion of the male and female, but young ones are coming out here. In the tissue culture technique in the laboratory also, we find that the spontaneous birth is there. In the tissue culture we are producing nowadays, this is a very popular technique in all the horticultural crops, like the grapes and guava and orange and all the seedless fruits are producing through this tissue culture techniques here, in which we take out some tissues here and put into in some agar-agar medium. These cells will the migratory soul will come in the cells and put the took place here, and a new young ones come out, and we will grow in this way. So here also there is no fusion of male and gamete, no reproduction, sexual reproduction is there, but comes out in this way. Similarly, a very interesting example, you can see that the contraction and expansion of the soul, you can see here, that is in a kidney transplanting in the surgery, you will see that. So this is the donor parent, healthy parent, and this is the recipient which kidneys is damaged. What in the surgery a surgeon is doing, remove this kidney from this donor parent, and it is transplanted to this recipient. So when this kidney is inside the donor parent, the Atma Pradesh, this kidney is in living condition. Atma Pradesh is there here. But as soon as we remove this, remove from this donor parent, the Atma Pradesh will depart from this kidney, and when it is insert or put in the recipient parent, and it will come in contact with this So here, when as soon as it is departed, the Earth Pradesh will remove from this, because this donor parent will not, the Earth Pradesh of the donor parent will not go in the recipient parent. But when this healthy kidney is transplanted, the Atma Pradesh of this recipient parent will enter in the healthy kidney, and it will function normally here. So here, the as soon as it is removed, the Atma Pradesh will contract, and as soon as it is replanted here, the Andhra Pradesh of this recipient parent will come and join here, and it will function normally. Same is the case with the blood transfusion. When blood cells also have the Andhra Pradesh, because they are in living condition. When we taking out the blood, as soon as the blood is coming out and it put under the bottle, so at that time when the blood is in the bottle, no Andhra Pradesh is there at that time, because the Andhra Pradesh is departed. But as so after the uh, inserting the blood, transfusion of the blood in the recipient parent, the Andhra Pradesh of the recipient parent will go in the this blood, and it will function like normally. So this is the case of the contraction of the or expansion property of the Andhra Pradesh. With very interesting example you can see, I will illustrate with this, with the wall lizard. You see that in wall lizard, if by accident, if the tail is cut here, if it is by, so the tail, you will see that after some, for some time, the tail will jump up and down for some time. As soon as the arm press will contract and come in the main body, the tail becomes stagnant, and it will be considered as a dead tail, because no arm press is there. As far as arm press is there, tail will jump up and down like this. But when the arm press is contract and come in the main body, and at that time the tail becomes the dead, and there will be no jumping or up and down in the tails. So this is the you can see that the contraction and expansion of the Andhra Pradesh. Similarly, you can say when the child is taking the birth, at the time of the birth, the height of the child, or half of the height of the um, baby is 1 feet. But later on, as soon as it grown up, and you see that when it comes adult, its height reaches up to 5 and 6 feet, 6 inches, and 6 feet or so. So the same arthritis, which was earlier at 1 feet child, it becomes a 6.6 feet. The arthritis will expand like this. So this is the example which you can understand. The arthritis have the contraction and expansion property. In the end, you can see that arthritis, the same arthritis, when it goes in the elephant, it becomes so much gyrus. So you can say that the same arthritis, that is the innumerable arthritis, they have the property of contraction and expansion. If any part is detached, the arthritis number will not reduce. Andhra Pradesh always remain the same, that is the innumerable number, Asankyat Andhra Pradesh. If any part or organ is to be, you can say, detached from the body, so you can see that the Andhra Pradesh will contract and come in the main body, and the injured part or the damaged part, that it will be considered as dead, because there is no Andhra Pradesh is there. So this is the case you can understand here in this. Now, the same thing now I can explain with the DNA the mechanism here. That is, the DNA is the key role in the deciding the architect's construction and the operation of the body. So that is, you can see that the DNA is considered as a boss, or DNA uh, is considered as a whole and soul in science. But according to the Jain philosophy, the architecture and the plan of construction is contained in the body making karmas. So according to science, the body is constructed according to the DNA, according to the instruction of the DNA, according to the hormones formed by the DNA. But in Jain philosophy, the body making karmas are responsible. The karma is responsible for the shape and size and architecture of the body. So here you can see that in what way the karma body making play the role in controlling the DNA. This thing we have to understand. Just now I will explain you that how the karma making body, the body making karmas are playing the role here, and how the karma making karmas control the function of the DNA. In just next slide, I will tell you. So this means that the information formed by the karma making body is transferred to the DNA of the zygote, and the Paryapti is concerned with this transfer process. How this happen is not immediately clear, but a one strong possibility is that this happen through biophotons. So this thing is to be happen in this case. One aspect is this. Another aspect we can speculation is that this is a diagrammatic representation which telling that the DNA has the two part actually. One is the functional part, that is the operation part, and another is the regulatory part. So in the DNA there are two portions is there. One portion contains the genetic information, and another part we call it as a regulatory function which don't have any genetic information. So this is here is a one part of the DNA, and this is the another part of the DNA. So this structural gene contains the coded form of the information, and this regulatory gene controls the activity of this structural gene. So what speculation is that the karmas are, according to Jain philosophy, karmas are mainly responsible to regulate the functioning of this structural gene. So the karmas are coming here, and the karma took place here, the karmas took place here on this regulatory gene, and it controls the entire activity, and this is the control function of the operator gene. This is considered as a switch or operate. When this switch on, the functioning of the structural gene will taking place, and this structural gene when comes in the functioning, it will form the messenger RNA, and the messenger RNA will ultimately form the proteins or the enzymes, and these proteins and enzymes we call it as hormones, and these hormones ultimately constitute the entire body. According to the hormones, the structure, shape, size, and body are constituted. So this is the one aspect given by the Jacob and Monod. So this is the model given by in science, a molecular biologist Jacob and Monod here. So the karma is here. The karma is playing the role here. So this mechanism or this explanation suffices the purpose of Jain philosophy as well as the biological philosophy, as well as the molecular philosophy, as well as the genetic philosophy, because how this mechanism is taking place, it is just a speculation. We are not omniscient, we are not Tirthankar, so the karma and arm and soul are not visible to us, but it is just a speculation that how it is taking place. So this is the one thing which we can understand here, and it is our speculation. We have studied Jacob and Monod model. So this was the Jacob and Monod model, and we try to correlate this Jacob and Monod model with our Jain philosophy in this way. Now you can see that another, that is the Watson and Crick. These were the two scientists. They artificially synthesized the DNA. In the laboratory, they have synthesized the DNA artificially. Now they are able to constitute the DNA which is made up of a nucleotide chain. The DNA they have formed or they have formulated it, but this DNA whatsoever they have formulated, that DNA is unable to function. Why it is unable to function? Because the soul is not there, the karma is not there in the laboratory. So as soon as here you can see that the karma, when the karma is playing the role, so because they have constituted the DNA, but the soul and the karma is not there, that's why this DNA they have constituted is non-functional. So here what we can inference that the karmas and the soul, they are responsible for the functioning of the DNA. This is the inference we can draw here in this case. Very well, good explanation here. I'm not, this is the structure of the DNA. I'm not going to describe this thing in details. That is what is the chemical structure there, or all the biomolecular structure of the DNA. This is nucleotide chain and all this. It is beyond the scope of this thing, because for the saving of the time, I'm not going to detail about this. Here, this thing I would like to explain you that how the hormones are synthesized. because the messenger RNA is to be formed in the DNA as per the code which is having. So this messenger RNA will here come here and it will constitute here the proteins. These are the polypeptide chain proteins are to be formed on the ribosomes and hormone is to be synthesized from this. So according to the information which we are having in the messenger RNA, like the same as the hormones will to be formed or the enzymes will to be formed and the functioning or the shape and size of the body will be according to the nature of the hormones. So this is thing one aspect of my lecture. In brief, I have summarized it. So this thing one. Another lecture, that is my lecture number 13, in which I would like to tell you about the biodiversity in the nature. What do you mean by biodiversity? Well, you see that a large sort of variation is there from individual to individuals. A large sort of variation is there from one living organism to the another organism, or even in the trees, you see the differences are there. So why the differences are there? Who is responsible for this variation? No two individuals are exactly alike. So what are the cause for this variation? What Jain philosophy says for this variation? One sense organism is different from two sense organism. Two sense organism is different from three sense organism. Three sense organism is different from four sense organism. And even human beings or in all theories or all this, one individual is entirely different from the other. That is why we recognize this is the Mr. X and this is Mr. Y. Because on the basis of the differences, on the basis of the variation, we are differentiated them. Someone is having the 6 feet height, someone is having the 5 feet height, someone is 5.5, and even say someone is small or light. So all various, or some is fair complex, some is the dark complex, and all these things body is there. So these things we can see that variation. In the scientific language we call it the biodiversity. So the varieties of the life on our planet are called the biodiversity. Biodiversity and an abbreviated word for the biological diversity. That is, bio means the life, or diversity means the variation, which includes the total number of the races, varieties, genes, and species, and the sum of the total various types of the microbes, plants, and animals. That is the total fauna and flora. So this is the difference. Means they all differences are there. If you see from the science point of view, you said that different phylum is there, different order is there, different class is there, different genus is there, different variety is there, different races are there. So on what basis this classification is given? Because the differences are there, and how this difference is created. What is the source of this variation? What Jain philosophy says for this variation? What science says for this variation, what genetics says for this variation. In brief, I would like to explain in this. In Jain system, it is called the Jeev Samas. So in the Jain system, the 84 lakh yoni, as you know, so all these 84 yonis, that one yoni is different from the other yoni. So how this variation is to created? How this 84 lakh yoni or 199.5 lakh कुल कोड़ा कोड़ी सूक्ष्म बादर जीव, ये what these differences are there from the Jain system point of view. So here it is believed that the scientific fact of the different schools of the thoughts can be help in better understanding the some of the great questions, such as how biodiversity or the variation is created amongst the individuals. So this an attempt has been made to understand the cause of variation in from the prism of Jainism and modern biology, and also give some details variation about the body structure of the living organism. So you can see that according to the Jain system, the Nam Karma, body making karma, the later on I will come on. The Nam Karma is responsible for this variation. only the naam karmation, and this naam karma is uh, is the fruiting of the naam karma is responsible for giving the body shape and size. And this naam karma, who is responsible for the naam karma? We ourselves are responsible for the naam karma. A organism, a mundana soul itself is responsible for this naam karma. In the next rebirth, what shape or size or body and which gati we will go, this will be determined by ourselves. Whatsoever the karmas we are doing here, that according to the karmas, we will took birth in the next generation, and accordingly our shape size will be formed. So the naam karma, for that development of the naam karma, for this we ourselves held is responsible. What jiva is doing and what the bondage of the karma, according to the bondage of the naam karma, the shape and size and the structure of the body you will find. So for this is the one thought, school of thought about in the Jain system. But in the uh, science or in the biology, the how this variation is to be created, and you can say that various theories are there, how the evolution of the life is taking place, how the life is originated, and how the variation earlier to earlier the very primitive type is now it comes in a very advanced form. So this why the gradual variation is going on here in this case. A separate lecture on this aspect will be delivered by our Honorable Dr. N.L. Kachara Sahab on the origin of the life. But in a very brief, just for the excellent point of view, I will explain here. That is from the scientific perspective point of view, the variation or the evolution. So first of all, the Darwinism, a scientist was there, a Darwinism, who suggested the overproduction, struggle for existence, and natural selection, that is survival of the species, where the cause of variation. The cause of variation is this is that is the in those the individuals which have the potentiality to survive in adverse condition, and in the adverse condition those individuals or those mundana soul which are able to survive in adverse condition, that will inherent in the next generation, and slowly the variation will come out and the new evolution will taking place. I'm not going in details, just for a slight idea. I'm just telling you about, because actually this is not a very much concerned with this. The another is the Lamarckism. The Lamarck is another scientist which have given the inheritance of the acquired character. He has given this concept of inheritance of the acquired character. The character which a individually acquired, that will inherit into the next generation, and gradually, slow changes will be there, and ultimately a final shape will come. So this is the inheritance of the acquired character, and so many limitations are there here in both the theories also, because it is not necessary that the character which is acquired by the one individual that will transfer into the next generation. For that, a mutation theory given by the Hugo, that the mutation theory says that whatsoever the changes is there at the gene level, at the genetic level, or at DNA level, that will inherit from one generation to the another, or that is the parent to the offspring or parent to the progeny. So the changes which is going on at the gene level, that will inherit. And both in these two theories, that is Darwinism and Lamarckism, here the changes are going in the somatic cells in a physical body. So that change will not inherit. Actually, these are the drawbacks of both these things. But here, this mutation theory tells that the variation at the gene level will inherit, and gradually change will occur. So by the combination of these three theories, a new concept was given, that is known as the Neo Darwinism. The Neo Darwinism theory said that at a somatic level, whatever the change is there, that change will ultimately come in the DNA, and that DNA change come in the DNA will inherent to the next generation, and you see that a variation will come up. So this is the one thing which I would explain, that the cause of the variation. Now, a genotype variation is considered as a heritable variation, when whatever the change is there at gene level, that will inherit from one generation to another generation, but the environmental variation is non-heritable. So whatever the changes comes from the environment, that is not inherent. So in the first two theories, that is the Lamarck or Darwin theorem, in which the change was there at an environment level, change was there, so it was not inherent. But at the, in Hugo's theory, in a mutation theory, the whatsoever the change at the DNA level, that will inherent. So here the heritable variation in living beings are originated naturally. ये नेचर में अपने आप होते हैं सारे. So these are the various ways: gene recombination, mutation, polyploidy. I am not going in details for this. Now here, according to biometric and population genetics, Dr. Kacharasa will explain in his a lecture of the evolution about the biometrical and population genetics of the evolution. I'm not going to detail for this. Here, this theory said this concept is that this P is the phenotype, means the whatever the appearance is there, external appearance, the what we are having. This external appearance, that is the phenotype, is actually formed by the gene, what kind of the genotype is there, and what in which that genotype, in which environment it is growing, and genotype environment interaction. So these three systems, that is the genotype environment interaction, is the ecosystem. So this is ultimately the cause of phenotype, that is the gene is responsible for the phenotype, gene is responsible for the external appearance or whatever the changes is there, that is governed by the gene. Now he said that the various kinds of the gene are there. I'm not going to tell details about this. The gene combinations are there. Here I am also, this is the academic aspect, how these things are going on. I'm not going in details about all these things. Similarly, the various ways and means are there. They are related with the academic study. So I'm not going in detail for this. This is the, you said, chemical structure where the changes is going on. If a single change is there in this one nitrogenous base, the entire phenotype will be changed. So this is called as a point mutation. So this is a one nucleotide of the DNA. And if one nucleotide is small change is there, even a nitrogenous base is changed, the entire, you can say, the functioning of the DNA will change, and entire hormone formation will be changed here. So a small change in the DNA level will cause a great change in the phenotype. According to the gen concept, now here I would like to draw your attention. According to the gen concept, before death, end of the body functioning, the soul fixes next paryay. Means as the time completed of any mundana soul, before death, in which paryay that soul will go and to rebirth. It will be fixed before departing from the main body. This is very important thing in the Jain system, which you should know. So, say for example, any person is on the deathbed, before departing the soul from the main body, in which paryay that soul will took rebirth, that will be decided before departing. So this is very important. Means it will go in Manush paryay or Tiryan paryay, Dev paryay or Narak paryay, in which paryay it will go. It will be decided prior to going there. That is known as the Ayu Karma Bandh Ayu. So in which Ayu Karma, in which Ayu it will go. Whether it will go in a Manushya Ayu, or it will go in Tirancha Ayu, or it will go Dev Ayu, or it will go in the Nark Ayu. So before departing, it will be decided there. So here the Nam Karma is playing the role. What I tell you, that is the Ayu Karma along with the Nam Karma. वो नाम कर्म कैसा है, विच टाइप ऑफ द नाम कर्म ये टेकन, द मनुष्य नाम कर्म, मनुष्य गति, तिरंज गति, देव गति और नर गति. So नाम कर्म is playing the role कि वो whether the soul will took the birth on the elephant, or it will take the birth as a human beings, or it will take the birth as a cat, or it will take birth on the dog, or it will go into the heaven, or it will go in the hellish. So this naam karma play the role, important role in determining the morphology. Morphology means the shape, size. So what is the shape it will be there, whether the soul will took the shape of elephant, or whether the soul will take the shape of cat, or this took the shape of rat, or what. So the naam karma is playing the role here, and it will be decided prior to departing from the main body. So this thing, one should understand this thing. So mainly responsible for the existence of all kinds of the biodiversity. So this Nam Karma is the main role. Ayu Karma and the Nam Karma is the main role for to deciding the biodiversity. Means the whatever the differences are there for this Nam Karma body making Nam Karma, and the Ayu Karma is playing the role here. You should understand this thing. Now, when the soul takes rebirth in the new body, is to be formed the power of development. This new body is called the biopotential. This new body is called the biopotential. So in this case here, I am not going details about the biopotential because the NL Kachara Sahib will, I think it has explained already, or he is likely to explain the Paryapti, what we call it the biopotential or Paryapti. So though whenever the soul will go and took place in the yoni, and immediately at the time of the formation of the zygote, the Paryapti will be there, and according to the Paryapti, the you can say the all the shape and size of the body and structure, internal organ, external organs, etc., are to be formed. I am not going in details for this other because I already explained in my audio video recording here. So the biopotentials are completed in a antarmorph time. So as soon as it go in the zygote and in antarmorph, the biopotentials will be completed. Now this similarly the pran, the vital powers is also playing the role here. So you can see that the 10 vital powers are there. So I'm not going in details about all the vital powers is here in this case. So the except Ayu, all 9 vital powers and the 6 biopotentials have cause and the effect relationship. So that is the vital powers and the pran, they have the cause and effect relationship. Karanakarya sambandha. So the Paryapti, you can say, is the cause, and the biopotential is the effect. So the pran and this, you can say the cause and relationship effect. So both are playing the role here. The biopotentials and the pran, they are playing the role in the mundana soul, or in case of the worldly soul. These prans and biopotential, etc., they are not in the liberated soul. भगवत सिद्ध भगवान में ये नहीं होते हैं, प्राण और बायो पोटेंशियल ये नहीं होते हैं. ये सारी चीजें, all these things are available in the mundana soul. These are here. You said these are the 84 different yonis, different kinds of the variation details I have mentioned here. Similarly, the from the 199.5 lakh kul koda kodi yoni. This is from the parental side and this is from the maternal side. So the 84 lakh yoni, this is from the maternal side, and this is 199.5 lakh kul koda kodi. This is from the paternal side. So these are the different partitions of this maternal side and paternal side. So there's so much variation you can see in the mundana soul. Various yonis are there from maternal side and paternal side. So in biological science, an estimated number of published genes was around 5.1 lakh, and 8.7 million species on the earth is reported, which are changeable. So 80% is still unknown. So in the science, whatever the description they have given, the genes and species and research, they are only 40% they have described. But in case of the health system, all living organisms has been described. All living and an infinite number of the living organisms, they are described in our gen system. But science has very limited number of the genes and species has been identified. In scientific perspectives, whatsoever variation is change obtained are limited up to the body level. In whatsoever the variation is there in the science, it is only at the body level. So change जो भी हुआ है वो body level पे change के ऊपर explain करता है. In other words, changes are only in pudgal or matter, may be at somatic level or at the gamete level or gene level or at the DNA level. The changes made at gamete level or sperm or ovum level or at DNA level are heritable nature and transfer from one generation to the another generation, that is from parent to the offspring. Somatic cell level changes are not heritable nature. Here, I would like to draw attention on this paragraph. When the migratory soul, that is Vigragati Kaji, migratory soul, you means that is when the soul is departed from one parya and then it is going in the process of to the next parya. So in between that, at the death and rebirth, in between that, the soul is called as the migratory soul, Vigragati Kaji. So when the migratory soul enters in the zygote, means at the time of fusion of the Raj or Vir, fusion of the sperm and ovum, when sperm and ovum fuses, at the same time at the fusion, the migratory soul will took place at that zygote. And as soon as the soul enters in that zygote, the zygote starts its functioning and you start its paryapti, and you can say that the cell division is taking place. So the 2 cell, 4 cell, 8 cell, a ball cell structure is formed, and ultimately that it will convert into the embryo, and that embryo will come into the new young ones. So at the migratory cell enter in the zygote for the purpose of the rebirth. It should be very clear in your mind that the migratory soul and the migratory soul, where it will go, it will be decided earlier. In which parya it will go, what will be the shape, where it will be already bonded in that migratory soul. It is in the karm bondage is there in that migratory soul. So accordingly, it will go and enter in a particular zygote. So at the same time, the different subtype of the Namkarm plays the important role in determining the architecture of the body and the internal and external organ of the systematic and in a predetermined way. So you can say that which shape will be there, it was predetermined. Which the karmas, Nam karma which you have bonded earlier, according to the Nam karma which was predetermined, you can say the biopotentials will work and the functioning and the all morphology will form and shape and size of the body will form. In this way, the Nam Karma act as the architect or you can say Chitrakar, which are mainly responsible for all kinds of the biodiversity, right from Nego to the 5 cent rational jeev. So the Nam Karma and the Ayu Karma, they are responsible and it is known as the Chitrakar or architect. As you know that architect is making the shape and size of any building, or before making any building, a architect make the sketch diagram, and accordingly the building will form. Likewise, the Nam Karma, it will be act as the architect or Chitrakar, and accordingly the shape and size of the body will form or the birth will taking place according to this one. So I think it would be very clear to you. So here in a brief again, that is cause and effect relationship in birth of living beings. Now the cause and effect relationship, that is as I have just explained you earlier, that is the phenotype or external appearance what we are having is actually genotype plus environment plus J into interaction. This is the physical cause. Physical cause means that is the instrumental cause, what we call is instrumental cause. So the Raj and Vir combines, fuses together, in which the maternal and paternal DNA is there in that sperm is having the paternal DNA, ovum is having the maternal DNA. This maternal and paternal DNA, they will fuse together and it will form the zygote. So this is a instrumental cause. Nimitta Karan, what we call it a Nimitta and Upadan Karan, that is the substantive cause. So the Upadan, which is the Upadan Karan, that is the substantive cause, is the migratory soul. Whatsoever the soul is having the karmas, according to the soul, the body will form. So the migratory soul, which is the instrumental cause, and whatsoever the changes is going on or whatsoever the information in the body making karmas is having in that migratory soul, accordingly the DNA will function. So the physical cause, this is a nimitta karan. So the zygote is a nimitta karan, or you can say it is instrumental cause or nimitta karan, And Upadana Karan, substantive cause, is the soul, migratory soul is the substantive cause. So the having the karmane sarir and the tejas sarir of the nam karma. So it should be very clear in your mind that how the variation is caused. The sperm and ovum is a instrumental cause, and the substantive cause is the migratory soul, which possesses all the information in the form of the nam body making karmas. According to the body making karmas, the DNA will form, and the DNA will form the hormones. Or first one, according to the nature of the hormones, the shape of the body will be decided. So it should be very clear. I think it would be very understood to you also. So one important note I mentioned here, migratory cell act as a driver. It acts as a driver. Without this zygote fusion of sperm, in no case will convert into the embryo. So the migratory soul is actually the driver. If a fusion is taking place, say for example, fusion is sperm and are fuses, but if there no entrance of the migratory soul, then that zygote will not convert into the embryo, and new individual will not took birth. So in this case, the migratory soul is the main driver. Main driver is the migratory soul. This is the actually you should keep in your mind. So in no case it will convert to the embryo and no birth will take place. Science gives explanation up to the zygote formation. Science, as I have told you, that science is talking about the sexual reproduction, in which there is a fusion of the male and female. So at the sexual level, this is explanation as an instrumental cause, but not a substantive cause. So science gives explanation up to the zygote formation. So science gives the explanation up to the zygote level, but how the zygote will form the body, all the different shape, it will be according to the nam karma. This what I have told you earlier. So so the zygote will not convert into the embryo unless and until migratory soul having the nam karma took place in the zygote. Without upadan karan, that is the substantive cause, no birth of the child is taking place. Hence, zygote and other genetic factor act as a nimitta karan or the instrumental cause. It should be very clear to you. According to biological sciences, fusion of the male and female gamete, that is runs on which contain all the genetic information of maternal and paternal characteristics in zygote, which zygote means the conceiveness of the raj and vir in the source of biodiversity or variation in the individuals. So biological science believes that DNA carries the coded according to which the design, shape, size, construction, structure, growth and development of the body took place. So science says that DNA is responsible for that, but the DNA functioning of the DNA is controlled by the body making nam karma, which I have explained you earlier. According to Jain philosophy, nam karma regulates and controls the and provides the essential ingredients for the functional and construction. So these are the one of the various concepts, and here I have given the for the explanation various acharya have given the explain their according to their views also. The Kundukun Swami, and you can say that in Alap Paddhati also it has been mentioned the different nam karms they are playing the role. So in Jain systems it has been given by the different gathas here. So according to Kundukun Swami in Pravachan they mentioned that that is the nam karm is responsible for this in gatha number 117 and 118. Similarly in Alap Paddhati also it has been given that it is different shape and size is there, and different Chorasilak, Yoni, etc. For this, it has been according to our Jain scripture, which I have mentioned here. I'm not going to tell you details about this because I have to take the questions from you. So this is the Gati Namkaram, different as I explained you, that these are the different Gatis, the Helis, Tiryanch, Manush, and the liberated soul. This liberated soul here without any karmas. Here this soul, Siddhas, what we call Siddhas, don't have any naam making body, karmas, etc. So this is a, you can say, amurtik, formless siddhi is there, liberated soul without any karmas. So here the karma is not playing any role. And so after attending this situation, rebirth is not taking place. I am not going to explain details about for this. If you have any question will be there, then I will take you. So the gati naam karma. So all the four gatis are there. The naam karma, for the naam karma playing the role. 42 types of the naam karma body making karmas are there. So all these are the, I have just listed out the 42 types of the Namkaram. So different shape, size, your voice, and you can say your fairness, and all the kinds of the whatever is visible to you, it includes under the body making karma, Nam karmas. So out of 42 Nam karmas, you can say the 90s are the demeritorious Nam karmas. They are जिसको पाप प्रकृतियां, what we call it is a पाप प्रकृतियां or sinful prakritis. So they are demeritorious naam karma, and rest they are the meritorious naam karmas. ये तो पुण्य प्रकृतियां जिनको पुण्य प्रकृतियां कहते हैं. तो इस तरह से 42 टाइप्स ऑफ द नाम कर्म. Some naam karma they are useful to us and some are is harmful to us. So the meritorious and demeritorious naam karmas are there. I'm not going in details to explain you all these things here for this. So the karmas, as I have explained you the karmas, in which you are well aware that there are three kinds of the karma: drav karma, bhav karma, and the no karma. Out of these three kinds of the karma, the drav karma, 8 types of the drav karma is there: Jnanavani, Darsnavani, Mohani, Antray, Vedini, Ayu, and Nam karma, and both karma. In which this is agatya karma, in which this Nam karma, which I have just explained you here, just because I have given you the just a indication that this agatya karma, out of the 8 karmas, the agatya karma, in which agatya karma is agatya karma. In this agatya karma, the seventh one, nam karma, that is the body or morphology making karmas are responsible for this biodiversity. And ayu karma is also no doubt. The ayu karma is also playing the role. In which ayu it will go? It will go in the Manusha, it will go in the Tiryans or in the heavens, or it will celestials or whatever. So the ayu karma and the nam karma, definitely they are playing the role in the biodiversity here in this case. And the bhav karma means whatever the external appearance we are having, looking, it comes under the bhav karma. It comes under the no karma. And bhav karma means that is the rag, dvesh, greed, deceit, and anger. All this comes under the bhav karma. So the bhav karma and drav karma, they are vice versa. Vice versa. Drav karma forms the bhav karma and bhav karma forms the drav karma. So they are interrelated with each other. I'm not going because this comes under the karma chapter. So I'm not going details about this. But as far as the conclusion is concerned, the biological science falls short in fully explaining the biodiversity in the nature and also evolution of the species. Jainism attributes biodiversity to karma and accept the role of genes and environment in the growth and development of the body. Means that is Jain system biodiversity, that is karma, and genes and the environment. So all these things are the instrumental cause, and the soul is the substantive cause. This thing you should keep in your mind. This thing. So Jain system talks about the Karankari Sambandh. So Karankari Sambandh say these are the, but science talking only about the Karan. Science is talking only about the instrumental cause, not about the substantive cause. But Jainism tells about both instrumental cause as well as the substantial cause. Thus, Jainism provides a complete theory of existence of living species variation in the body structure and biodiversity of the living organisms. Thank you very much. You listened me nicely and calmly. I am grateful to you. Thank you very much. Jai Janendra to all of you. Any questions for this? You are most welcome.
Godawat sir, Jai Janendra.
Jai Janendra sir.
या मेरा नाम आलोक जैन है। बहुत बहुत ही सुंदर आपका ये लेक्चर रहा आज। वेरी वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर such a sharing such a vast amount of knowledge in such a short period of time with us. Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर।
एक प्रश्न था आपसे
हाँ बोलिए
कि
सर।
ये जो जेनेटिक चेंजेस से साइंटिस्ट ने जैसे वो कुछ नई फॉर्म्स ऑफ लाइफ बनाई थी,
हाँ हाँ
वो उसकी you often hear about that sheep that was formed and so on and so forth. तो उस एक्सप्लेनेशन में ये कर्म थ्योरी कैसे काम करेगी?
नई स्पीसीज में आपका मतलब जो जेनेटिक इंजीनियरिंग से जो बना रहे हैं वो उसका मतलब
हाँ
जो।
जी, जी
हाँ
हाँ, जी हाँ, जी
हाँ
जी।
ठीक है। तो जेनेटिक इंजीनियरिंग को, तो जेनेटिक इंजीनियरिंग से जो नई स्पीसीज बन रही है वो भी जो explanation remains the same, because we are doing the changes at the instrumental level, means physical level we are doing the changes. So accordingly, whenever we are making the changes, the migratory soul which are having that type of the characteristics, that will, only that kind of the soul will enter to that particular organism. So this is the thing here. So as just what I have explained you in the tissue culture system, the tissues we are taking, and from this tissue you see that we are growing a new individuals from the tissues. The migratory soul will enter in that tissues, and the tissues will divide, redivide, and form the new individuals. So in the genetic engineering, whatever the changes we are making at the DNA level, so what the DNA level, whatever we are doing the changes in DNA level, but the migratory soul, when we changing the DNA level, so individual, whatever the individual having that kind of characteristics, that kind of the naam karm, that organisms will come, that migratory soul will come and took birth in that, and the new individuals will form accordingly.
तो गोदावत साहब,
हाँ
साधारण तरीके से कहूँ तो आप ये कह रहे हैं कि चाहे कोई भी कॉन्सेप्ट हो साइंस का, एज
हाँ।
फार एज फॉर्मेशन ऑफ न्यू लाइफ इज कंसर्न,
हम्म।
तो आप तो ये कह रहे हो कि वो लाइफ नामकरण से पहले डिसाइडेड थी,
हाँ,
है ना?
वो
मतलब
वही आत्मा आएगी उसके अंदर, वही आत्मा आकर के, जैसे मैंने बताया आपको कि जैसे मान लीजिए गुलाब का एक पेड़ है, उसकी आपने 10 डालियां काट दी, 10 डालियां काट के उसको आपने जमीन में लगा दी, तो जो जीव विग्रह गति का माइग्रेटरी सोल है, जो गुलाब के नामकरण का लेके आया, वो जीव आकर के उस डाली के अंदर बैठेगा। जब आकर के वो जीव उस डाली में बैठेगा तभी उसके अंदर स्प्राउटिंग होगी और वो नया नया पौधा उससे बनेगा। अगर उसमें जीव आकर के नहीं बैठेगा तो वो डाली सूख जाएगी, उसमें नया पौधा नहीं बनेगा। तो जो जीव आकर के उसके अंदर, जो इसका मतलब वो जो नामकर्म जैसा लेके आया है, वही जीव उसके अंदर आकर के अपना स्थान ग्रहण करेगा, दूसरा जीव आके नहीं बैठेगा। जिसने जैसा नामकर्म लिया वैसा ही जीव आकर, एक जिस जीव को भिखारी के यहाँ जन्म लेना है, तो वो माइग्रेटरी सोल वही भिखारी के यहाँ जैसा नामकर्म लेके आया है, वो भिखारी के वहां उस जगह पर ही जाके उस जायगोट में कंसीव करेगा। और जिसने राजा के का नामकर्म ले रखा है, तो राजा के यहाँ पर उसका नामकरण का, उस राजा के वहां पर जो जायगोट बना है, राजा रानी के संयोग से उसमें जाकर के वहां पर बैठेगा वो जीव।
जी
इसी तरह से आप किसी का भी ले लीजिए, आप कोई भी, अगर कोई कुत्ता बिल्ली का भी है, तो कुत्ते बिल्ली का नामकरण लेकर के आया है, तो कुत्ते बिल्ली ने जहाँ संयोग किया है, तो उसके जायगोट में जो कुत्ते का नामकरण का लिखा है, वही उस जायगोट में वो जीव आकर के वहां पर बैठेगा, दूसरा जीव नहीं बैठेगा। क्योंकि जीव तो चारों तरफ हजारों हजारों, plenty of infinite number of the migratory souls are around us, across us. So but only the selective migratory soul, which have that particular characteristics, नामकरण, that will took place in that zygote, जहां पर उसमें जिसको जहाँ जैसा जन्म लेना है उसी तरह में उस जगह पे जाकर के वो बैठेगा और अपना होगा। वरना तो इसीलिए तो अपन कहते हैं कि कौन सी पर्याय में जा रहा है। अच्छे कर्म करोगे तो अच्छी पर्याय में जाओगे, खराब कर्म करोगे तो खराब पर्याय में जाएगा। अगर ये ऐसा ये रैंडम हो जाता तो फिर होता ही नहीं है। इट इज नॉट ए रैंडम फिनोमिना, इट इज ए सेलेक्टिव फिनोमिना। जैसा कर्म, ये कर्म का ये अपने अपने ज्ञान गम नहीं, ये केवली भगवान के ज्ञान गम है। पर ये दिस इज अ सेलेक्टिव फिनोमेना कि किसको कहाँ जाकर के जन्म लेना है वो डिसाइडेड है पहले, मतलब वो उस कर्म के माइग्रेटरी सोल के अंदर वो पावर है कि उसको उसी जगह जाना है. दैट माइग्रेटरी सोल हैव दैट पावर टू रीच दैट पर्टिकुलर जाइगोट.
जी जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
जय जिनेन्द्र सर.
जय
सर
जिनेन्द्र.
मैं प्रियंका बड़कुल जैन भोपाल से. सर मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है कि अगर मैं इसको ऐसे बोलूं कि कर्मों का कुछ तो केमिस्ट्री होता है, लाइक कर्म है तो अल्टीमेटली इट गोज डाउन टू द केमिस्ट्री, बिकॉज जीन्स जो है फाइनली वो न्यूक्लियोटाइड से बने हैं, और न्यूक्लियोटाइड्स कैसे बने हैं, सिस्टीन और ग्वानिन ये सब से बने हैं. तो वो अल्टीमेटली क्या है, नाइट्रोजन, ऑक्सीजन, कार्बन, ये वाले पार्टिकल्स हैं. तो ये जो ये विच इज द केमिस्ट्री. तो जब इंसान मरता है तो उसका बॉडी तो चला जाता है, बट दैट केमिस्ट्री गोज ऑन मूविंग फ्रॉम वन बर्थ टू अनदर बर्थ. मतलब अभी जो कॉम्पोजिशन है बॉडी का, दैट केमिस्ट्री जो है वो अभी कर्म से बन रही है, और फिर वो नेक्स्ट बर्थ में जाएगी, फिर वो केमिस्ट्री दूसरी हो जाएगी, और वो केमिस्ट्री विल बी डिफाइंड बाय दैट एनवायरनमेंट जहां पर कि वो बर्थ ले रहा है. तो डज इट मेक सेंस कि अगर इफ इट इज सेड लाइक कि दिस इज द कर्मों की केमिस्ट्री?
डेफिनेटली योर क्वेश्चन इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. अब जैसे मान लीजिए अभी आपने कहा आपको ये न्यूक्लियोटाइड, मैंने आपको अभी देखो आप इसमें ये न्यूक्लियोटाइड है एक, ठीक है ना?
यस सर.
शुगर है, ये नाइट्रोजन बेस है, गुनाइन है, और ये फास्फोर्ड का बॉन्ड है, ठीक है? एक न्यूक्लियोटाइड हो गया ये, ठीक है ना?
yes.
ये न्यूक्लियोटाइड हो गया. इस न्यूक्लियोटाइड में कहीं पर भी कोई चेंज हुआ, एक नाइट्रोजन बेस पे हुआ या 2 पे हुआ या 4 पे हुआ या कहीं पर भी हुआ, तो एक यहाँ पर चेंज होने से क्या होगा, इसके यहाँ पे चेंज होने से इसका मैसेंजर आरएनए जो बनेगा वो मैसेंजर आरएनए भी चेंज हो जाएगा, उसके ट्रिपलेट कोड भी चेंज हो जाएगा.
राइट. और प्रोटीन भी
ट्रिपलेट कोड चेंज होगा तो इसका जो प्रोटीन फॉर्मेशन होगा, हार्मोन बनेगा, वो भी अलग तरह का बनेगा.
यस सर.
तो उससे हार्मोन अलग तरह बनेगा तो उसका फिनोटाइप होगा, वो भी अलग तरह का बनेगा.
राइट सर.
ओके, तो एक बात तो ये हो गई है. अब आप कह रहे हो कि अब इसमें जो भी जाइगोट के अंदर जो स्पर्म और ओवम का फ्यूज हुआ, तो उसके अंदर जो मैटरनल और पैटर्नल क्रोमोसोम है, उस क्रोमोसोम के ऊपर क्या और डीएनए है, लोकेटेड है वहां, डीएनए है वहां पर दोनों में.
यस सर.
ओके, तो वो डीएनए है वहां पर, उस क्रोमोसोम्स के ऊपर डीएनए लोकेटेड है. तो उस डीएनए के फंक्शन को कंट्रोल कौन कर रहा है? अब ये यहाँ तक जो डीएनए का स्ट्रक्चर की लेवल तक तो साइंस की है. अब उसके बाद में अब इस डीएनए के फंक्शन को कंट्रोल कौन कर रहा है? साइंस जो कहता है, जैकब एंड मोनार्ड मॉडल ये कह रहा है कि इसके डीएनए के फंक्शन को रेगुलेटरी जीन फंक्शन कर रहा है, विच कोड रेगुलेटरी जीन है, वो इसके स्ट्रक्चरल जीन को कंट्रोल कर रहा है. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट?
यस सर.
ये साइंस कह रहा है. ओके, अपना जीन. अब हमने क्या स्पेकुलेशन लगाया, दिस इज माय स्पेकुलेशन, क्योंकि कर्म को अपन देख नहीं सक रहे हैं, आत्मा को भी अपन नहीं देख सक रहे हैं, ये केवली भगवान के ज्ञान गम में, हमारे ज्ञान गम नहीं है. पर एज ए साइंटिस्ट, एज जेनेटिसिस्ट, वी कैन हैव द स्पेकुलेशन दैट द डीएनए फंक्शनिंग है, जो रेगुलेटरी जीन कैसे रेगुलेट कर रहा है उसको, उसके लिए जो आपके नाम कर्म, जो विग्रह गति का जो माइग्रेटरी सोल अपने नाम कर्म लेके आ रहा है, जो 8 कर्मों में से एक नाम कर्म है, वो जो कर्म लेके आ रहा है, वो कर्म इस रेगुलेटरी जो जीन के जो पोर्शन है उस पे वहां पर आकर के अपना स्थान लेता है, और वो उसके स्ट्रक्चरल जीन के फंक्शनिंग को कंट्रोल करता है कि किस समय वो उसको कौन सा हार्मोन बनाना है. तो आपके उसके हिसाब से वो जो नाम कर्म है वो उसके फंक्शनिंग को कंट्रोल करता है, स्ट्रक्चरल जीन के फंक्शनिंग को, और उसी तरह से फिर वो मैसेंजर आरएनए बनाता है, और उस मैसेंजर आरएनए के हिसाब से आपके हार्मोन्स बनेंगे, और उस हार्मोन के हिसाब से बॉडी का शेप चेंज होगा. तो ये पूरी इसके पीछे ये स्पेकुलेशन है कि द फंक्शनिंग ऑफ द रेगुलेटरी जीन इज कंट्रोल्ड बाय द नाम कर्म।
ओके, तो सर
यानी
अगर हम नाम कर्मा को डिफाइन करें तो वो तो कुछ फिजिकल एंटिटी भी नहीं है।
हाँ, नहीं फिजिकल है तो फिजिकल एंटिटी, वो तो ये भी, क्योंकि कर्म है वो उद्गल है, कर्म पुद्गल है, परंतु इतने दे आर सो स्मॉल, वो हमारे ज्ञान गम नहीं है, कर्म हमारे ज्ञान गम नहीं है। अठो कर्म है, अपने आत्मा में लगे हुए हैं, वो हमारे 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 नॉलेज पर है, पुद्गल है। इसमें कर्मों में स्पर्श गंध रंग वर्ण है, इसलिए कर्मों का बंध होता है आपस में। अगर इसमें स्पर्श गंध बंध नहीं हो तो कर्म का बंध बॉन्डेज होगा ही नहीं। कर्मों का बंध आत्मा के, अपन कैसे भी राग द्वेष क्लेश का कषाय करें, फिर कर्मों का बंध होगा ही नहीं। इसलिए कर्मों का बंध हो रहा है, बंध जब भी होता है जब उसमें स्पर्श रस गंध बंध हो, उसमें स्निग्ध और रुक्ष गुण हो, उसमें नेगेटिव और पॉजिटिव कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हो, तभी वो कर्म आकर के आपस में अट्रैक्शन रिपल्शन करते हैं, आपस में आकर के जुड़ते हैं।
ओके ओके,
तो इज इट क्लियर टू यू?
यस सर, वेरी मच सर, थैंक यू सो मच सर, इट वाज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग लेक्चर सर।
हाँ, तो ये बात है। एनी क्वेश्चन मोर?
सर नमस्ते, मेरा नाम नीता है और मेरा क्वेश्चन है सर, इसमें हम गणित को कहाँ तक लगा सकते हैं?
मतलब व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय गणित?
जैसे नंबरिंग करनी है हमें कि ये नंबर में ऐसा हुआ, ये नंबर में ऐसा हुआ, तो ये तो सारी इन्फिनिट चीजें हैं, तो हम उसको नंबर में कैसे लगाएं?
नहीं, नंबर तो ऐसा है कि अपन नंबर में तो इसमें कैसे कर सकते हैं अपन, what in mathematical way, actually mathematics will be definitely will be there, but these matters are so small, or you can say that it is beyond our catch up capacity.
ओके,
हाँ, ये हमारे ज्ञान गम नहीं है, इतना सूक्ष्म है। अपन कर्मों को बात कर रहे हैं, पर कर्म कैसे होते हैं, क्या है। अब 23 प्रकार के कर्म वर्गणा है, उसमें से 5 प्रकार की कर्म वर्गणाएं ही हमारे से कंसर्न है। बाकी दूसरी कर्म वर्गणाएं है जो जो 9 कर्म के अंदर आती है, वो तो 5 कर्म की कर्म वर्गणा है, जिससे सारे कर्म 8 कर्म बन रहे हैं। तो ये सारे अब कर्म अपने जैन स्क्रिप्चर्स में भगवान ने बताए, देखे, पढ़े, वो अपने, इसलिए वो पढ़ करके अपन जान रहे हैं, पर वो कर्म अपने को दिख तो नहीं रहे ना। बट वी कैन, अपन को ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं कि वास्तव में कर्म है। तभी तो एक व्यक्ति ज्ञानी है और एक व्यक्ति अज्ञानी है, एक व्यक्ति छोटा है, एक व्यक्ति बड़ा है। ये वेरिएशन क्यों है? तो ये वेरिएशन इसलिए 1 to 1 इंडिविजुअल के कर्म, फिर समथिंग सम कर्मास आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल, इसलिए, वरना ये डिफरेंसेस इंडिविजुअल टू इंडिविजुअल में क्यों है? विजडम में इतना फर्क क्यों है? कलर में इतना फर्क क्यों है? एक होशियार है, एक कमजोर है, कुछ भी, एक जल्दी एक बार कहने से समझ जाता है, एक वो 100 बार समझा नहीं समझता है। तो ये ज्ञानावर्णिक कर्म है। तो सभी प्रकार के कर्म के स्टडी अपन करें, डेप्थ में जाए तो सब चीज पकड़ में आ जाती है। तो अपन ये कर्म दिख नहीं रहे, पर इसको अपन अनुभव में तो कर रहे हैं ना।
यस,
अपन अपने डेली लाइफ में अनुभव तो कर रहे हैं ना, सभी कर्मों को अपन।
यस सर, यस सर।
आयु कर्म, एक ही आयु को जल्दी खत्म मर जाता है, एक बहुत समय तक कम रहता है। इस तरह से हर कर्म की अपना अपना रोल, अपन आठों कर्म के रोल को अपन अपने डेली लाइफ में अपन ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं बराबर। बट दीज कर्मास आर नॉट विजिबल, इवन इट इज नॉट विजिबल टू अस।
ओके, ओके सर,
गोदावत साहब, मेरा एक प्रश्न और था आपसे।
हाँ, फरमाइए सर।
तो पिछले कर्मा के इसमें जेनेटिक साइंस के लेक्चर में वो जो उन्होंने ऐसा कहा कि मेमोरी ट्रांसफर्स फ्रॉम वन लाइफ टू अनदर। उन्होंने ऐसे बोला कि मेमोरी एक्चुअली देयर इज एविडेंस, साइंटिफिक एविडेंस टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट कि मेमोरी ट्रांसफर फ्रॉम वन लाइफ टू अनदर। तो उसका उदाहरण वो दे रहे थे कि भाई जैसे कोई बच्चा नया पैदा हुआ हो और उसको पहले से ही उसमें इस तरह का स्किल लेवल है, या पिक्चर बनाने का या कोई इंस्ट्रूमेंट चलाने का, उसका उदाहरण वो इस तरह से दे रहे थे कि वो मेमोरी पिछली लाइफ से इस लाइफ में ट्रांसफर हुई। तो आप इसके बारे में क्या कहोगे?
देखो साहब, आपने जो प्रश्न किया है, तो इसको अपन जो मेमोरी के ट्रांसफर की बात करें तो उसको कहते हैं अपन संस्कार। अपना ज्ञान कौन सा है? मति ज्ञानावरण कर्म
जी।
कौन सा ज्ञान है? अपना मति ज्ञान है, ठीक है ना
जी।
अपना ज्ञान मति ज्ञान है। और मति ज्ञान के अंदर 4 भेद हुए, मति ज्ञान की 4 स्टेज है। अवग्रह, यह, अवाय और धारणा। थोड़ा मैं अंदर डेप्थ में जाकर के बता रहा हूँ आपको, थोड़ा सा आप समझने का प्रयास करें। मैं आपको थोड़ा बताने का प्रयास करूंगा। तो मति ज्ञान ज्ञान है, कोई भी चीज आपने अपने ज्ञान में आई, अपने मति ज्ञान में आई, तो वो 4 स्टेजेस को क्रॉस करके अपने ज्ञान में आती है। अवग्रह, यह, आवाय और धारणा, ये 4 स्टेज है। अवग्रह मतलब किसी चीज को आपने देखा जस्ट एट ए ग्लांस, वो अवग्रह ही है। यह मतलब उसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा आपने कंसंट्रेशन दिया, अवग्रह। यह आवाय में मतलब आपको लगता है कि हाँ ये चीज है, ये चीज आपने देख लिया। वो धारणा में है, वो चीज आपकी मेमोरी में आ जाती है धारणा में। ठीक है ना, आपने कोई कोई बाहर कोई दूर चीज खड़ी है, एक बगुला है या कोई भी चीज है, तो पहले आपको लगा कि वहां पर कोई चीज है, ये हुआ अवग्रह। फिर अवाय में हुआ कि वो बगुला हो सकता है, ये अवाय। और तीसरे में आपने कलर वगैरह देख करके कंफर्म कर लिया कि नहीं ये तो बगुला ही है। चौथा धारणा, मतलब आपने आपके अंदर मेमोरी में चला गया, वो चीज आप वापस देखोगे, उस बगुले को वापस देखोगे तो ये आएगा कि हाँ ये वही बगुला है जो मैंने पहले देखा था, वही बगुला है। वो आपकी मेमोरी में चला गया, तो वो धारणा में चला गया। धारणा मीन्स दी मेमोरी। तो मेमोरी में कोई चीज चली जाती है और उसको आपने रिपीटेडली आप उसको स्टोर करते हो। मतलब इसको एक चीज को बार बार, जिसको अपने कहते हैं अपने भाषा में रटना, किसी चीज को बार बार, तो उस बगुले के बारे में आप बार बार आप रटते रहोगे, तो वो आपकी धारणा में परमानेंट आपकी स्मृति में आ जाएगा। वो आपके अंदर वो संस्कार, इसको अपन स्मृति को कहेंगे संस्कार। आप किसी चीज का आमना करते रहो बराबर, मतलब उसकी रिपीटेडली चीज को करो, तो वो चीज आपके संस्कार बन जाएंगे। तो वो दैट स्मृति विल कम्स इनटू द संस्कार, और वो संस्कार जो है वो आगे परपिचुएट होते हैं। इस तरह का आगम में उल्लेख आता है। तो जो आप बात कह रहे हो, तो ये इसमें उसी तरह से है कि ये आपके जो कोई चीज आपने पहले अच्छी तरह से खूब बार पढ़ी है, उसको आपने स्मृति में लेकर के और उसको संस्कार में कन्वर्ट कर दिया, रिपीटेडली उसकी अनुप्रेक्षा की, किसी चीज की अनुप्रेक्षा मतलब रिकरिंगली आप उसको, रिकरेंटली आप उसको आप बराबर उसका स्मरण करते रहोगे, तो वो आपकी संस्कार बन जाएंगे। और वो दैट संस्कार विल ट्रांसमिट फ्रॉम वन जनरेशन टू अनदर जनरेशन। ये इसके ऊपर ऐसा मैंने आगम में पढ़ा है, जो मैं एक्सप्लेनेशन आपको दे रहा हूँ।
तो ये संस्कार का कर्म के साथ क्या संबंध है?
वो तो कर्म ही है, ये तो संस्कार जो
कर्म।
भी जा रहे हैं वो पुद्गल कर्म के रूप में ही है, वो कर्म के साथ है।
Namaste, Professor Godawat ji. My name's Tushar Shah. I'm speaking from Austin, US.
Okay.
From what I understood, you mentioned that the migratory soul is dependent on the Ayur and Nam karma. Is my understanding correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Migratory soul means migratory soul means that before departing from the previous paryaya, the soul fixes the Nam karma and the Ayu karma, that in which paryaya that soul will go and took place birth there. So the migratory soul has the Ayu karma एंड दी नाम कर्म। आयु कर्म में से ये मनुष्य गति में जाएगा या देव गति में जाएगा, तिरंज किस जगह पे जाएगा, वो गति और मतलब उस आयु के बारे में बताएगा, और उसको फिर उसका शेप क्या रहेगा वो नाम कर्म बताएगा।
ओके जी हाँ, थैंक यू। और आई हैव टू रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस। और स्लाइड में वो भी लिखा था कि आयुर इज रिलेटेड टू एज। तो can you talk about that? Age meaning umar ke what do you exactly mean age?
No, here the age is related with the आयु। how much आयु आपको वहाँ कितनी आयु है उसकी, वो आप साथ में लेके जा रहे हो कि आप when you taking the rebirth and that how much your age will be there, that ayu here the age here the age means the total number of the survival time. But here you should not confuse it, that it doesn't mean that अकाल मृत्यु इसकी नहीं होगी। मान लीजिए आप 80 साल एज लेकर के जा रहे हो, 80 years की लेके जा रहे हो, but it doesn't mean that you will complete 80 years. You met by accident, if death is there, तो अकाल मृत्यु भी उसके साथ हो सकती है। बट द एज मीन्स द टोटल ड्यूरेशन ऑफ द स्पान, लाइफ स्पान, दैट इज comes under the age here. वो आप डिटरमाइन पहले ही करके आपकी कितनी आयु रहेगी, अगली पर्याय में आपकी आयु कितनी होगी, और वो आप आपके कर्मों से आप खुद डिटरमाइन करते हो। इसके लिए कोई दूसरा रेस्पॉन्स, अदर इज नॉट रेस्पॉन्सिबल, यू योरसेल्फ इज डिटरमाइनिंग फैक्टर। आप कैसे कर्म बांधते हो, आप चिरंजीवी होंगे आगे या अल्पायु के होंगे, आप कैसे कर्म बांध रहे हो, ये आपकी प्रीवियस लाइफ के ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा।
So why separate the two? Can you not have the age portion in the नाम कर्म as well?
या एक मैं बता रहा हूँ ना आपको, ये नाम कर्म के साथ साथ में टोटल ये इट इज इन द नाम कर्म, हाउ मच एज विल बी देयर, अल्पायु के होंगे कि दीर्घायु के होंगे, क्या हो, ये नाम कर्म के अंदर ही शामिल है। इट इज नॉट अदर देन द नाम कर्म।
Okay. So not two different things. Okay,
हाँ,
thank you.
No, not at all.
Okay, and final question. You talked about sanskars in the previous question Alok Jain had asked. So, is this when we here we are using nam karam as a physical identity, and then nam karan sanskar. So the two are two different points. Sanskar, if I understood, is would fall more into the substantive. It would be the cause.
Yeah,
Go ahead, please explain.
Yeah. Listen me. Yeah, I got your point. The sanskar and the naam karma, you can see in one way both are different. Sanskar is related with the mati gyan. Gyan means it is related with your Gyanavarni karma. Sanskar is related with your mati Gyanavarni karma, and the shape, size and all the things, they are determined by the body making karma, that is the naam karma. So sanskar is different, and the body shape, size, it is the different. Both are governed by the different kinds of the karmas.
Okay, so one the body size, the physical characteristics of the body is determined by nimit karan.
Yeah.
While you could say the gyan portion is determined by the substantive cause, upadan karan.
The Gyanavarni mati gyan is in 8 kind of the karma. One is the Gyanavarni karma, and in the Gyanavarni karma, the mundana soul have the mati gyan, and mati gyan have the 4 partitions: avagraha, iha, avay, or dharana. So dharana is the part where the thing is repeatedly used, and it will comes under the sanskar. So that dharana will convert into the sanskar. So sanskar is a part of Gyanavarni, mati Gyanavarni karma. And the shape and size is governed by the naam karma, body making naam karma. This is governed by the agatiya karma, and the first one is governed by the gatiya karma.
Okay, not fully understood, but is this portion what we asked? Is this in your notes? This is slightly more advanced. Or if you can you, if it's not in the notes, is it possible that you can write up something so it just becomes I need to read it again and understand it better?
Okay, I will send on a mail of the what you would like to know it. I will send on the mail.
Gee, okay. So thank you very much. Really enjoyed your lecture. It was very informative and very well prepared as well. Thank you so much. Namaste ji.
Thank you.
जय जिनेंद्र, मैं चंद्रकांत लाठिया बोल रहा हूँ।
जय जिनेंद्र साहब, जय जिनेंद्र।
हाँ, आई ओपनिंग और इंफॉर्मेटिव आपका प्रवचन रहा। मुझे 1-2 प्रश्न थे। एक तो ये अपनी जो विग्रह गति है आत्मा की, वो साधारण 3 समय में ही खत्म हो जाती है ना?
हाँ, ये तो अंतर्मोड में एक बिल्कुल विद इन नो टाइम।
हाँ,
अंतर्मोड मतलब ये कि एक समय में मैक्सिमम ये एक आत्मा दूसरी जगह बर्थ लेती है, तो 4 समय से पहले पहले ये दूसरी जगह बर्थ ले लेती है। तो 4
हाँ,
समय एक समय 4 समय मतलब ये 3 मोड़ा जिसको कहते हैं अपन आगम की भाषा में कि मैक्सिमम 3 मोड़े होते हैं जो जिसमें अंदर 4 समय होता है। तो इस समय
राइट
में वो विद इन नो टाइम ये तो मतलब बिल्कुल इन फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकंड के भी बहुत फ्रैक्शन, एक समय कुछ भी नहीं होता है। तो एक समय मतलब ये कि मतलब विद इन नो टाइम इट विल टेक रीबर्थ विद इन नो टाइम। तो मैक्सिमम लिमिट है इसकी 4 समय।
हाँ हाँ सर, तो आपने जो मिग्रेटरी सोल को बताया कि बहुत सारे मिग्रेटरी सोल रहते हैं, तो ये सब कार्यक्रम जो है मिग्रेटरी सोल का, वो सब सारा 4 समय के अंदर खत्म हो जाना चाहिए ना सर?
हाँ, जिसका है उसका वो वापस अपना बर्थ 4 समय में अपने जगह जगह ले लेगा वो, बिल्कुल।
अच्छा, नहीं तो बाकी के समझो 4 समय में बर्थ नहीं लेता है तो वो क्या माइग्रेशन स्टेट में ही रहता है?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, नहीं रहेगा वो। जैसे एक पर्याय छोड़ी है,
हाँ,
नियम से वो 4 समय के अंदर दूसरी पर्याय में जाएगा ही जाएगा।
जाना ही है, बराबर है ना?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल नियम से जाएगा वो।
अच्छा अच्छा, अभी आपने जो एक प्रश्न था जो मैथमेटिकल का, तो मैं सोच रहा था कि ये समझो हमको इसका कुछ मैथमेटिक
आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है, आपका आवाज नहीं आ रहा है।
ये जैसे कि कर्म है वो फिजिकल पार्ट है, और इसके अंदर के जो केमिकल्स है तो केमिस्ट्री है, और जो बायोलॉजी का जो ये है, जो सोल के साथ का जो है जैसे स्पिरिट, तो वैसे कुछ ऐसे फंक्शनल मॉडल में ये 3 के सिवा और क्या आ सकता है?
मैं आपका
फिजिकल
क्वेश्चन
यानी मैं कर्म को
क्वेश्चन
ले रहा
आपका
हूँ कि
क्वेश्चन
कौन सा जो
आपका
कर्म है वो,
आई एम
क्योंकि
नॉट
मुझे
आई एम
ये
नॉट
जानना था
एबल
कि
टू
अभी
आई एम
जैसे
नॉट एबल टू
नाम कर्म
लिसन
जो
योर क्वेश्चन। आपका क्वेश्चन क्या है? क्वेश्चन आप क्वेश्चन बोलो, आप क्वेश्चन समझ में नहीं आ रहा
हाँ,
आपका क्या?
मुझे मैं जरा कोशिश कर रहा था कि ये जो आपने जो नाम कर्म का जो आत्मा का जो लिया, तो उसको हम लोग को मैथमेटिकल फॉर्म में करना है, मैथमेटिकली रिप्रेजेंट करना है, तो उसमें से कौन से आएंगे? तो एक तो कर्म है तो इसके लिए फिजिकल आएगा, दूसरा ये जो बॉन्डिंग के जो आपने बताया तो उसके लिए जो केमिकल पार्ट जो है जो वो आ जाएगा, और तीसरा जो है वो जो आपने बोला कि जो साइंस अभी सोच नहीं रहा है कि कॉज कौन कर रहा है, जैसे आपने बताया कि ये पर्टिकुलर जीन कर रहा है, तो जीन का जो पार्ट है तो अपने हम लोग उसको बायोलॉजिकल पार्ट कहें।
हाँ, तो जीन जैसा जीन का है ना, जीन का कंट्रोल वाला तो अपने को लेबोरेटरी में एक्सप्लेन हो जाता है।
राइट सर।
परंतु उसको 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 जो जीन का जो रेगुलेटरी पार्ट के ऊपर जो डीएनए वो जो कर्म आके बैठते हैं ना, उसका अपने पास एक होने, क्यों कर्म को अपन देख नहीं सकते हैं। जो डीएनए को तो अपन ने लेबोरेटरी में देख लिया और बना भी लिया, डीएनए को तो अपन ने आर्टिफिशियली बना लिया, देख लिया, सब कर लिया। परंतु कर्म अपने को कर्म का मालूम नहीं है, कर्म अपने को देखने नहीं सक रहे ना। ये जस्ट स्पेकुलेशन है कि कर्म आके यहाँ बैठते होंगे, ऐसा अपना स्पेकुलेशन है। बाकी तो ये कर्म अपने को विजिबल नहीं है, सोल विजिबल नहीं है। अब ये तो केवली भगवान के ज्ञान गम्य है कि वो सूक्ष्म चीज को तो वही जान सकते हैं। इसलिए इसका मतलब अपने को ऐसा, क्योंकि एज ए साइंटिस्ट वी कैन से दैट इट वुड हैपन लाइक दिस, ऐसा होना चाहिए। इसके अलावा और कोई दूसरा अल्टरनेटिव नहीं है, क्योंकि अपन दोनों को कोरिलेट करते हैं। जब जैन फिलोसॉफी को साइंस जेनेटिक्स मॉलिक्यूलर जेनेटिक्स को कोरिलेट करते हैं तो इसी प्रकार का संबंध होना संभव पूरा ऐसा लगता है, ऐसा ही होने की संभावना है, ऐसा ही होना चाहिए।
राइट सर। ओके सर, कुछ ये कर्म और जीन्स का कोई रिलेशंस अभी तक कुछ एस्टैब्लिश हुआ है क्या?
मैं वही तो बता रहा हूँ आपको कि भाई अपन स्पेकुलेशन बिल्कुल अपन ये अभी ये सारा स्पेकुलेशन वही था कर्म और जीन का। सारा जीव तो मतलब जीन जो फंक्शनिंग करता है उसको ये कर्म डिटरमाइन करते हैं, उसको जीन के फंक्शनिंग को कर्म डिटरमाइन करते हैं। क्योंकि कर्म मतलब पुद्गल को कंट्रोल पुद्गल कर रहा है यहाँ पर, क्योंकि कर्म इज आल्सो पुद्गल जीन इज आल्सो पुद्गल, तो पुद्गल को पुद्गल कंट्रोल कर रहा है। ऐसा ऐसा अपन का स्पेकुलेशन बनता है। और बिल्कुल ये 100% अपने हिसाब से एज ए साइंटिस्ट हम ऐसा ही मानते हैं बिल्कुल। पर अब क्योंकि अपने को कर्म विजिबल नहीं है तो दिखा नहीं सकते हैं कि ये माइक्रोस्कोप में देख लो आप, ये इलेक्ट्रॉन माइक्रोस्कोप में देख लो, या इसके उसको देख लो, दिखा दे अपन जैसा दूसरा अपन बता रहे हैं, देख तो अपन विजुअली दिखा नहीं सकते इसको।
हाँ बोल। अच्छा ओके सॉरी सर विच हैव। हाँ सर थैंक यू थोड़ा बहुत क्लियर हुआ, थोड़ा अभी भी डाउट है तो सर कुछ आप इसके बारे में कुछ डिटेल रीडिंग सजेस्ट कर सकते हैं?
भाई मेरे पास तो इससे ज्यादा और कुछ इस पे कुछ है नहीं मैटर, तो फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग जितना मेरे पास मालूम था और जितना मैंने स्टडी किया।
आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह से समझाया, मगर हमारा थोड़ा लिमिटेशंस है, तो मैं सोच रहा था कि कोई बुक्स आप रीडिंग के लिए, सपोर्ट के लिए इसमें कुछ कर सकते हैं क्या, पढ़ सकते हैं क्या हम?
वो रेफरेंस मैं बता दूंगा, थोड़ा सा आपको मैं मैसेज में मेल पे डाल दूंगा मैं।
जी सर जी सर।
इसको आप थोड़ा समझ सकते हैं। और वैसे कछारा साहब इस पर काफी बात कर रहे हैं और उनकी एनएल कछारा साहब ने काफी बुक्स लिखी है इस पे, तो उसका रेफरेंस मैं डाल दूंगा आपको। एनएल कछारा साहब और इस पर प्रकाश डाल सकते हैं इसके ऊपर सारा, बिकॉज इन माय व्यू डॉक्टर एनएल कछारा साहब विल हेल्प यू मोर इन दिस एस्पेक्ट।
Right, sir. Thank you very much. It was really very eye-opening and very brilliant lecture, sir. Thank you very much. Jai Jinendra.
जय जिनेंद्र साहब, जय जिनेंद्र,
जय जिनेंद्र।
जय जिनेंद्र साहब। जावाणी के ज्ञान से सूझे लोकालोक, सोवाणी मस्तक नमो सदा देत हूँ दो। हे जिनवाणी भारती तो जपो दिन रैन, सो तेरा शरणालय सो पावे सुख चैन। पंच परमेष्टि भगवान की जय, द्वादशांग जिनवाणी माता की जय। सबको सादर जय जिनेंद्र। आपने बहुत ध्यान पूर्वक और शांति से मेरा लेक्चर सुना, मैं बहुत आभारी हूँ, कृतज्ञ हूँ आपका। सबको सादर जय जिनेंद्र।
जय जिनेंद्र, थैंक यू वेरी मच प्रोफेसर जी।
थैंक यू। ये इनकी वीडियो और ऑडियो मिलेगी?
थैंक यू सर।
इनकी अभी जो क्लास की वीडियो ऑलरेडी क्लासरूम में डाल दी गई है, सो यू कैन वॉच डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम देयर।
What about the slides themselves? वीडियो में आ जाएंगी वो?
ऑडियो वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग हमने भिजवा दिया था पहले से, आलोक जी।
हाँ
आलोक जी, इसी ये सारा जो अभी मैंने बताया इसका ऑडियो वीडियो मैंने पहले डाल दिया है, हमने भिजवा दिया है बहुत टाइम पहले ही।
वो मिला नहीं अभी तक।
अब तो ये पता नहीं क्या है,
आप
हमने
गूगल क्लास में आप जाके देखेंगे ना, सो आपको मिल जाएगा वहीं पे।
ओके ठीक है, नहीं मैं वहां गया था, मैं तो फिर देखूंगा उसमें जाके।
हाँ ठीक
है
वो आपको वहां पर मिल जाएगा।
और अगर आपको और भी नहीं मिला हो तो आप मैंने अभी किया उसमें मेरे मेल को डाल देना, मैं आपको भिजवा दूंगा। और
ठीक है सर, मैंने लिख लिया आपका ईमेल, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
हाँ ठीक सर, सबको जय जय।
अच्छा, और प्रियंका जी, डू यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन बिफोर वी क्लोज दिस क्लास?
Sir, I had a small question regarding this vegetarian meat, because like I am a food technologist. I'm sorry if it hurts someone's eating habits, but I have this concern if because food is related with karma, the way we eat food is defines karma in some manner. So when we are eating, suppose vegetarian meat, so it is not killing someone. So will it add up to those good karmas or bad karmas because it is meat?
मैडम आपका जो प्रश्न है कि पहली बात तो आपके प्रश्न के ऊपर ही मैं एक प्रश्न पूछ रहा हूँ आपको कि वेजिटेरियन मीट का मतलब क्या है? हाउ विल यू डिफाइन वेजिटेरियन मीट?
सो वेजिटेरियन मीट में वो एनिमल सेल लेते हैं बायोप्सी करके, उसके बाद फिर उसको कल्चर करते हैं, ग्रो करते हैं, उसमें बहुत सारे मिनरल्स, विटामिन और ग्रोथ फैक्टर्स डालते हैं और उसको लार्ज फॉर्म में बना के और फिर सर्व करते हैं।
मतलब टिश्यू कल्चर से आपने मीट बनाया यूं मतलब? हाँ
यस सर।
मैडम मेरा इसमें यूं कहना है कि आपने टिश्यू कल्चर से मीट बना लिया आपने, उसके अंदर अब जैसा मैं आई एम नॉट श्योर क्या है इसमें क्या नहीं है, पर अब इसमें आपने तो
सॉरी सर, योर वॉइस इज क्रैकिंग. हेलो हेलो हेलो, योर वॉइस इज नॉट कमिंग.
मैं यूँ कह रहा हूँ, आर यू लिसनिंग में?
एक मिनट में सबको म्यूट कर रहा हूँ बिकॉज आई एम फेसिंग अप सो मच ऑफ डिस्टर्बेंस इन बैकग्राउंड एंड आफ्टर प्रोफेसर जी यू कैन जस्ट अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ.
हाँ, आर यू लिसनिंग में?
यस सर.
Yes, now your voice is pretty clear.
आपने जैसे अभी कहा कि आपने वेजिटेरियन मीट, जिसको आप वेजिटेरियन मीट कर रहे हैं, मतलब टिश्यू कल्चर से बनाया हुआ मीट है, किसी को मार के आपने मीट नहीं बनाई हो, मतलब किसी जीव को मार के उसका मीट नहीं काम ले रहे.
જુનિયરના 80 કર્યા છે 80 એટલે 7
Okay.
मेरी बात का जवाब दे रहे हैं, आप सुन रहे हैं?
I already requested Priyanka ji, can you please unmute yourself? I requested you to unmute yourself. Okay, so at least you can give an answer to Professor ji. Priyanka ji, are you there? Okay, please unmute yourself. I think we lost
Okay, now it's
her, but she may be
now
joining soon.
the
But
time
as far I understand, it is means it's a cultural.
okay. Now the time is too much actually. Now, if any question is there, send me on the email. I will give the reply of this. It is only 9:45. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Shyam Godawat, and thank you very much all those the participants for listening this lecture. Please make sure that you can read. If you haven't yet watched their lectures video, please watch it again. And if have any questions, do not hesitate to send us, and we can always been forwarded to Professor Shyam Godawat, and he like to give us an answer about all our questions. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Shyam Godawat, for your immense knowledge sharing with us.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Jai Jai.
Jai Janendra. Jai Janendra.